We are going to be using yarn to create a symmetrical design, as you can see in these examples here. In the Mexican culture, they call this a God's eye, or in a Native American culture, they might make something that looks like this for a dream catcher. Whatever you want it to be, that's fine, but we're going to be designing a symmetrical design, and you need to be thinking about your color scheme. Do you want to have all bright colors, or do you want to put bright colors next to dull colors so that they pop out? Or do you want to have all dull colors? It is up to you. You can see here there's a few bright colors in the middle with dull colors on the outside, and that really makes it stand out. Once you decide what color scheme you want, then we need to decide what the very middle color is going to be. This will be the first piece of yarn that we get. If we want it to be small in the very middle, like the yellow in the very center of this one, then that's okay. You're not going to use a lot of yarn. If you want it to be wider, then you're obviously going to get a bigger piece of yarn. As you can see in the middle of this one, the blue has a bunch of yarn in the middle. The next thing we need to do is we need to go and choose our yarn. There's going to be the cart in the middle of the room, and you need to decide what color you want your middle piece to be, just your middle to start with. Then you will take your yarn, and if it's like this, we will just unravel it, cut it off whenever you have however much you want, and then you will place it right back where you got it. Do not mix these up. If these all get tangled up, we're all going to have to stop and fix it. So if anyone tangles these up, you're going to have to stop what you're doing and fix it. So put it right back where you got it. If you're getting it from one that is being pulled from the middle, like you can see in all of these, it will just keep pulling out from the middle until it's completely gone. So you can see in this one here, it's being pulled out from the middle. So you can just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and it will just keep coming and coming and coming. When you're getting one from the middle, you've got to be careful. Once you have how much you want, you need to leave extra string on the end. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to leave all of this extra, and I'm going to drape it over the edge just like this and leave that so the next person will pull from the middle as well. If this falls down back into the middle of this, I'm going to be very upset with you, and I'm probably going to give you a detention so that you can come and try to fix it. Make sure that you do not let that drop back down into the middle. Now that I have my long piece of string, my very first color, I'm going to go get a skeleton, one of these. It's just 3 pieces of wood that are glued together, and I need to go back to my table and wait for the rest of the instructions. Once I have my skeleton and my yarn, I'm going to find the end of that yarn. I'm going to place it right in the middle of the skeleton. I'm going to put my thumb on it, and I'm going to wrap all the way around it like this, just one time here. Then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to wrap it all the way around it another time. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to wrap it all the way around it again. Now that it's stuck on there, I'm going to stop because that's all I'm doing it. I'm not going to keep raveling it around. There's a next step. So once you have that, just stop and wait. Now that it's attached, I'm ready for the next step. And that is to go underneath this stick here, wrap all the way around it, just one time, pull it to the middle so it's nice and tight and close. Then I'm going to go to the next one. So I'm going to be continually turning this and rotating it around as I do this. So I'm going around one time, pulling it to the middle, and then turning it. Going around, pulling it to the middle, and then going around, pulling it to the middle, and then I'm going under this one, and then around it. So I'm going under the next stick that's over, going around that stick, and then pulling it to the middle. Going underneath this stick, around it, and pulling it to the middle. Then I'm going to go under this one, the next one, around it, and pull it. So I'm constantly rotating this, turning it, and I'm just going under, around, and each time I'm turning it. So I'm just going underneath it, around it, pull it to the middle. Underneath it, around it, pull it to the middle. Underneath it, around it, pull it to the middle. And I keep turning this If you're struggling with this and you don't know how to do it, just wait, because if you're not doing it right, I'm going to make you unravel the whole thing, and then we're going to start over. So watch again. I'm going under this stick, take my yarn under it, around it, pulling it to the middle, rotating. Under the next stick, around it, pull it to the middle, and then rotate. Just keep doing this until you're almost out of yarn. Once you're almost out of yarn, just set it down. It might loosen up and unravel just a little bit, but that's fine. We can back up 1 or 2 sticks. It's not a big deal. Once you're done with that color, I'm going to go and choose my next color, and then just wait. I'm going to teach you how to tie them together. Okay, if you're happy with the way your middle looks and it looks right, then the next step is to tie on your next piece of yarn. The way I do this is I take the ends of both pieces of yarn, I set them together like this. So I have the 2 ends together. Then I'm going to grab the 2 ends, going to wrap both pieces of yarn around my finger. Let me put that together so you can see. Put both pieces of yarn around my finger, and that makes this hole right here, this loop. I'm going to take the ends and go through the hole, and I'm pulling both of them tight, just like this. I have this little bit of extra that's kind of dangling off here. What I need to do there is cut off the extra. Don't cut the string that you just tied, but cut the extra. Then I might want to unravel just one so that I can keep this nice and tight. You want to keep it nice and tight, but not so tight that you're going to break the sticks. These sticks will break, and you can pull them and warp them in different directions. So each time I'm checking, do I need to pull it this direction? Do I need to pull it this direction? It's because if it's starting to look weird, then we need to pull them in different directions. Each time I'm pushing towards the middle, and I'm making it look nice and neat. If you do it too loose, it's going to wind up looking like this, and it's just too loose. It's not looking right. It's not good. If you do too tight, you might warp it and break it. Okay, I'm moving on to the next color now. When I get to the next color, I need to decide, do I want to change levels? As you can see here in this one and in this example, it changes levels. So this one is raised compared to the rest of it. The way I do that is I'm going in the same direction. However, if I was going underneath and around, underneath and around, underneath and around, then if I want to change levels, all I got to do now is once I get to a new color, I start going, I have it right here. I'm just going to go over and around, over and around, over and around.
Over and around, over and around, over and around.
You can see now it is changed levels. At this point, I need to check and see if I need to unravel it or if I'm doing it right. If it is looking like this, where you can see that it's nice and tight and that it's gone around and it all looks right, it's all uniform, then you're doing it right and you're doing okay. If you're not doing it right, we need to stop and unravel it. Because if you're not doing it right and you keep going, then you're just gonna have more to unravel whenever I come by and look at it. So do it right the first time. Take your time. So now
I was going under, now I'm going over and around and turn. Over and around and turn. Over and around and turn.
I also need to be thinking about my color scheme. How wide do I want this blue section to be? Do I want to stop here? If I have a whole bunch of yarn left, like I do, but I'm happy with how wide this is, then I would cut it. If I ran out of string and I felt like it needed more blue, then you just tie on the exact same color and you keep going. So I'm going over and around, and I'm going to keep going around because I want this to be a wide section. So you can see here, I went quite a bit of yellow, a little bit of white, quite a bit of red, a little bit of white, quite a bit of this peachy color, and then a little bit of red and a little bit of white. So be thinking about your color scheme. Be happy with the width that you have. If you're going to change it to a fuzzy yarn compared to a nice tight yarn, well then keep it tight still. Kind of be thinking about that. Do you want it to look fluffy and like a bird's nest, or what do you want it to look like? Take your time, don't mess this up. Once you start to get close to the end of your sticks, then you will put a dot of glue on each stick. So you can see how I'm just putting a dot of glue right there. Then I'm just going to keep raveling on top of that glue. So I'm just going to go keep wrapping it on top, around it, on top of that glue, around it, on top of that glue. Now I'm going to put some more on those last ones. I'm just going to keep going. And then the very last one, I'm going to wrap it around a couple times like this, and then I could just set it down, kind of press it there, and then you kind of just let it go and let it dry just like that. You can leave this extra string on it if you want. That will allow you to hang it from something, or you can tie on another color and glue it as well. Just the same as you would with any of your colors. You just tie it onto the string, glue it, and make that the one that it dangles from. Or if you want to figure that out when you get home, you can do that when you get home too. But you can display it by just hanging it to where it spins, or you can press it up against the wall and you can choose which side you want to look at. All right, I think you're done. Once you're done with everything, clean everything up. Make sure there's no extra yarn. There's no little pieces all over the place. Make sure to clean all that up. Clean your spot, wipe it off, make it nice and neat. Thank you very much.